Hello, everyone.
Hey guys.
We've got people streaming in. Just wait a couple seconds, and in the meantime, drop in the chat where you're calling in from. We've got people um, that register from all over the world for our ArtCloud webinars, and we want to know where you are right now. My name is Megan Schaefer. I head up marketing here at ArtCloud, and I am excited to, explain, what makes a good artist newsletter, a good email campaign. Being in marketing, it's something that I hold dear to my heart and think about often. So I look forward to talking about it with you all, as I also have a background in the arts. So really excited to just dig deep on how we use our campaign builder to empower artists to send out the correct message, a beautiful email with beautiful typography and imagery to their collectors and their fans, and how to amass a following to make sure that they're getting their work out there, and if they want to, selling their work. So um, I have with me today Alex West, who is our CEO and founder. And so he will be taking on the responsibility of showing you the ins and outs of our platform, the ArtCloud platform, as it relates to the email campaign builder. So it's something that we love a lot. And while a lot of our galleries send out literally hundreds of email campaigns from ArtCloud every day, artists are some of our favorite people. And so we want to make sure that artists have the same access to the same tools as galleries and bigger businesses, and are able to grow. So to get started, I've got an agenda here. And by the way, for Q&A, for any questions you may have, please use the Q&A section. We're actively monitoring that, and you'll see down here in slide 6, we have a Q&A where we'll try to cover as much as we can. And so compile your questions along the way, and we'll go ahead and try to answer those. So yeah, welcome. We're happy you're here. And the things that we'll be covering will be content and design tips. So, where do you start with designing an email? You can look at it as art, but really it's marketing and branding, and there's certain do's and don'ts. And then we will navigate the ArtCloud campaign builder, so our product, and then how to leverage your CRM, your contacts, who you're actually sending these emails to, and how to also leverage your website. So connecting your website with your inventory to your campaigns is something that's a really special feature in ArtCloud. And then optimizing for engagement. So once you send that email, or that monthly email, that quarterly email, what happens next? Like how do you define success? How do you know what you're doing right or wrong? So we'll talk about that as well. So let's talk about what makes an effective email campaign, right? So let's take a moment with something that we're all very familiar with. I assume everyone here, if you've escaped having an email address, congratulations, but it doesn't
I'm jealous.
right, exactly. Jealous also of not having any email, but given it's something that everyone is familiar with, I think often when I'm creating an email campaign, I'm thinking about what I get in my inbox that I actually am going to click on, that I'm excited about reading, whether that's a newsletter from a news source, whether that's a newsletter from a clothing company or something e-commerce based. Think about the emails that you get into your inbox that you're not unsubscribing from. I'm an avid unsubscriber, so I have a kind of a high bar when it comes to what I want to see come into my inbox. So just think about that maybe in your head and start to star emails or make a folder. I have a folder that I put interesting looking emails in, which now that I said that out loud, I realize that's pretty nerdy, but here we are. So
Hey,
in
I
terms
print
of,
out all the interesting emails I think, and then stick them on the board. So that's even like analog nerd.
I was about to say, that's like a next level. Printing out emails is next level stuff. Okay, so in terms of compelling content, you want to make sure that your images are high quality and not blurry. You want to make sure that your storytelling techniques are kind of on point and a little bit different in every email. Day in the life, collector profile, detail shots, links to videos. and then clear calls to action. So calls to actions include links and mostly buttons. And you really want to send people out of your email into a place where you want them to do something, a call to action. In the case of e-commerce, in the case of selling art, it's to the inventory detail page, or like a list of a show, like a particular exhibition that you have, that someone would be easy within maybe 2 or 3 clicks be able to spend money. So that's something to just think about. Leveraging a CRM, in this case, collector retail management, relationship management, which would be your contact, which we have in our back end of our ArtCloud manager, which connects to your campaigns. So within your audiences, you'll segment them, which Alex will speak to that further and show you. But you'll segment them into particular audiences, particular groups of people that you'll decide to tell a particular message. And then tracking engagement message like metrics, like I mentioned in the last slide. Um, in terms of syncing your newsletters with your website content, this is always a good idea. If you're like, I don't know what to send these people, update your website with a couple new pieces, send out an email about it. It doesn't need to be like asteroid hits Earth. Oh my God. It can be just a couple of your new things, even if they're small studies or something that is just that's new, and then you can update on your website and then make sure you have that linked. And then using forms on your website to grow your email list. Having a subscribe form, everyone who's used the internet, also if you have gotten out of using the internet somehow, I don't know how you're here, but you've been on a website, you see a pop-up, you see a subscribe, that should be on your website. Even if you send out a newsletter once a year or twice a year, it can be really daunting to think about these email campaigns, but really just, make sure you have people that give them an opportunity to get to know you by way of giving, they need to be able to get their information to you. And then consistency in timing. Like I said, if a monthly or bi-weekly or something email just isn't feasible, it's not for a lot of, practicing artists, a lot of career artists. Quarterly, monthly, seasonally, around holidays. You can think about it at a clip, and then maybe it won't feel quite as daunting. And then in terms of this is a little bit repetitive, but I just wanted to kind of hammer home like good logo. So even if it's just text, choose a font from Google Fonts. Like we have access in ArtCloud to like 1,500 plus Google fonts, some of which are really cool. Choose that as your stamp, your brand, so people remember these emails when they come in every time, like you would remember an email from a brand that you like. Text, so just enough, not too much. And newsletter should never really exceed beyond 2 paragraphs, give or take. And make sure also on an ArtCloud website, you can have a blog. So if you are feeling verbose, which is fantastic, you can write a lot of things in your blog and also link your inventory in your blog. And then you can, link that in your newsletter and just tie it all together. Images and or inventory, you'll see later, very cool. You can put your inventory in your emails, and then a call to action, like I said. So topic ideas include a new body of work, like I said, even if it's 2 things or if it's a completely new series, a studio sale. There's classy ways to do this where, you're saying, I am, cleaning out my flat file, things like that artists have done. Announcements about residencies, gallery shows, grants or awards, if you're into that, if you're actively applying for those things. People want to know about those things. Collectors in particular know that if an artist is getting, grants and awards and various things, it's legitimizing. It's a good thing for artists to have those things on their CV, and in their email newsletters. So so yeah, on that note, I will hand this over to Alex. I'll give you the screen share, and then he will show you everything of the ArtCloud campaign builder.
Yeah, awesome. And I think I've just been monitoring some of the questions. The only question that I've seen come in about kind of there's a couple Support for the analog nerd. Thank you, Heather. Brett, your question about the number of images per email. There's certainly no technical limit to the number of images that can go in that. But as Megan mentioned, it's always just you understanding, how do you want to interact with your subscribers? Do you want to have really, really, really long emails and have them scroll through that, which there may be reasons for that, or do you want to have a shorter email that kind of teases some information and then tries to drive that engagement back to your website? So all a little bit of just strategy for you to figure out as you experiment. So let me share my screen and we'll walk through a little bit of the product. Like Megan mentioned, emailing is part of your marketing effort. Not only do you get to create work, you need to make sure that you're publishing that new work into places. Social media is a great place to drive new awareness and engagement to your website. And from your website can start working for you by collecting visitors' email addresses into your CRM or your inventory, your contact list. And then you can start emailing those people. So while they may not be checking Instagram or Instagram may not be feeding them your most recent post, once you get their email address, you can then start messaging them directly. And that's so important. You hear all the time those horror stories about, hey, I had all these followers on Instagram and my account got hacked and now I can't communicate with them. And it's so important that as you grow your career, that you have control over the communication with your clients. So always encourage you to be growing your collector list, adding to your contact list over and over, and just develop that discipline, because it pays dividends. Every single person you add to your email list is going to be another person that gets your subsequent emails and will forward those to someone, or will interact with them and tell a friend about it. And over time, those little incremental improvements or increases start to compound. And then before you know it, you've got 10x what you have in engagement and 10x what you have in sales. And so the sites will always be encouraging, our ArtCloud websites will always be encouraging visitors to sign up for your email newsletter so that you can continue to market to them. So when you first log into ArtCloud, you may be familiar with this. If you've not made an ArtCloud account, we encourage you to sign up. It's absolutely free to get started. There's a forever free account that lets you do all of your inventory management. And you can even trial all of these more advanced features. So if you don't have an ArtCloud account, after this, please go make one for free. No credit card needed. Just sign up and explore the tool and let us know what you think. We're always listening to people's feedback. All of that said, once you log in, under the sales and marketing section here, you will see campaigns. And that's where you'll be able to create new email campaigns, edit email campaigns, look at the performance of previous email campaigns. So we're going to open up an existing campaign here. I think this is the one we want to open. When you there's campaign management is kind of a three-step process in ArtCloud. One is, you can see the 3 steps up here in the header. The first is kind of a setup. So, what's the internal name just for your organizational purposes? What's the subject of the email? Who do you want it to come from? What's the preview text, etc. The audience is something here that we should double click on. The audience is going to be what subset of your contacts do you want to send this email to? Most of the time, you're probably going to be sending them to all of your collectors, all of your clients. But there may be times where you want to segment out a particular list of contacts to personalize communication to them. And that's where audiences would come into play. But we'll go into that later. The second of those 3 steps is message editing. So this is kind of a pre-filled email campaign here. And I'm just going to showcase a couple of the features. Just like our website builder, our campaign builder is all drag and drop. You don't need to know any fancy code or HTML, just drag things over. So if you were to click on this text, for example, the text is right here. You can make any edit that you want. All those edits update instantly. You can change things like the background color. You can change if there's a border around this element. You can adjust the margin and the padding. So if you wanted to add more space between this text and the artworks here, you could just grow that padding amount. Unlike systems like MailChimp or Constant Contact, if you have experience with those, ArtCloud's going to let you integrate dynamic content, which is just a fancy way of saying kind of your inventory. So instead of having to download all of your artwork images and then retype the title and the dimensions and the medium into something like MailChimp, ArtCloud's going to make it really easy for you to include all that inventory on a campaign. So, we have these 6 artworks added up here. If we wanted to edit that, we could come in here, say we want to select some inventory. Here are the 6 works. If we want to add 2 more, maybe let's just add 3 more to add that second row. We can just add those. We're going to say we want to lay these out in 3 columns. And then voila, we have all 3 of our, or all those extra 3 artworks added to the list. If we wanted to change the number of columns, let's say we're like, oh, that, having 3 columns of artwork here makes the image just too small. We want to increase the size of the artwork image. You can just make a change right here. We can just change that to 2. And now we're starting to get a little bit more space. And maybe we even say that, these rows are too tight. We want to give the artwork a little bit more breathing room. You can see, again, no coding needed. Just expand the row spacing and it will automatically update right here. So again, these are just small tweaks that could take you so much time in something like MailChimp or Constant Contact. And we've really tried to make it easy for you to control the look and feel of it in an effortless way so that you can experiment with what looks best and then before you send it out to all your clients. If you wanted to change the information about the artwork, so for example, we have the title and the dimensions here. If you wanted to, for example, include the medium for every artwork, we could just edit the cell design. And we'll click on this artwork meta information. We'll come into this tab and we're just going to insert a token. A token is just a way for us to let you include that dynamic information. So, the title, you can control kind of all of these individual aspects. If you want to bold the title, but not all the artwork meta information, we can just select the title here. And now the artwork title is bolded, but the dimensions are the same. Or if you wanted to, italicize this. Again, it's just really important to us to be able to give you all the branding and formatting control so that you can control the way your artwork looks to your collectors. So it's kind of a tenet that we carry with us as we work through all of our new features and feature development in the future. A couple of things to highlight here. You'll see that there's a clear call to action on each one of these inventory items, and this can be linked automatically back to the inventory detail page on your ArtCloud website. Megan was talking about earlier about what makes a great email newsletter, and as you put this fresh content in, these new pieces you've made or some old pieces from the studio that you're looking to sell, letting the viewer or the reader be able to quickly engage with a particular work and get to the right page on your website is so critical. So you can imagine if you didn't have an individual call to action or link on each one of these artworks, if they like the piece, they're gonna have to either reply back to the email and remember what it was called, or screenshot it, or go to your website and then try to search for it and try to find it. And all of those steps are just more friction between that interested collector buying that work or inquiring about that particular work. And so anything you can do to reduce that friction is going to have a dramatic improvement on the engagement of these emails, and then the eventual revenue that you'll see, or the amount of artwork that you'll be able to sell from all the hard work that you're doing to send out these emails. Let's see. And again, just any kind of like call to action. So if you're in terms of like best practices for content, any kind of announcement you can share with your fans. Remember, these people are people that have expressed interest in you and your career. So anything you can do to kind of keep them updated, keep them becoming a supporter of you, it's going to help. So announcing a group show that you might be in. Megan mentioned blog posts. I think that's a great way to, if you don't have a lot of new work to share, you can write a blog post about, thoughts you're thinking about, works you're working on, works in progress. I know there is, sometimes with the controversial concept of, do you want to show works in progress or not? We're just here to show you all the different tools you have, and you can make the decision what makes most sense for you and your audience.
To answer
Um,
that question live too, I would say check with your gallerist. If you're trying to if you know you're going to give that piece to your gallerist, ask them what their opinion is. They will have an opinion. So definitely ask them, ask your advisor or your dealer if you have one. And then in terms of including a work in progress, I like to do like a sneak peek. That's what I've done in the past working with artists, is not necessarily show the whole shebang of from start to finish, but tease it out like a detail of a painting, a detail of a sculpture. That way you're getting people interested and they want to see more of it, but you're not necessarily, giving the whole thing away.
And then kind of thank you, Megan. And then the kind of the last bit, this kind of still falls under the having good call to actions throughout the newsletter. You want to make it the newsletter as clickable as possible. If wherever people want to engage, you want to make sure that you're making it easy or effortless for them to engage with you in that capacity. So perhaps they don't follow you on social media, just including your socials in the footer. Our club makes it really easy. Once you do that once, they'll automatically always be there in your footer, so you can always track that engagement. So your newsletters can maybe be driving more followers for Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. Um, there's obviously a lot more to the campaign builder, but that's a pretty good overview of adding and editing content. And then when it's time to send this off, we'll give you a preview. You can actually send yourself a preview so you can look at what it looks like. Again, like Megan said, proofreading it, double checking all the links. The benefit of using an ArtCloud website is that the links will be automatically created for you, so you don't need to proof those, but definitely looking for typos or any kind of wording that you want to just clarify. And once you actually send this off to the audience, we'll start giving you your metrics. This is a demo account, so we don't have any live webinars from here, but you'll be able to see the number of people the webinar or the email newsletter was delivered to, what your open rate was, what your click rate was, your unsubscribe rate, and your bounce rate. So these are great things to start tracking over time. It can, if you're kind of newer to this, it can be daunting. So don't worry, you don't need to get into tracking analytics or numbers at first. You just need to focus on that consistent content creation. But once you do get into a good rhythm and you've done 5, 6, 7, 8 of these newsletters, start just looking at what your open rates have been over time. What performed best, what performed worst, what had the best click rate, and you can start zeroing in on what might make sense for the best timing, the best type of content, the best subject lines. What's your audience looking to hear from you about? We've seen a lot of email campaign providers will tell you things like, do your email off in the morning because that's when everyone's getting to work. But when you think about that logically from an artist perspective, that doesn't make a lot of sense because while a lot of companies might be selling a work product, and that might make a lot of sense for those emails to go out at 9 a.m. because all of their clients are working at a business. If you're trying to advertise your new arrivals or recent works that are available, you might want to be hitting people at 5:30, 6, 6:30, 7, 7:30 because that's when they're at home making dinner, they're hanging out, they're looking at their phone, and that's when they're going to actually have the free time to browse and engage and read about your work. And so, as you kind of don't always follow all the kind of advice you'll see on the internet. Start looking at what makes the most sense for you. Experiment, have fun with it. People tend to take this stuff so seriously, and at some point, you just have to start trying things out and have a sense of humor and practice, and will always get better. As long as you're getting better and making progress, then everything's good. I also want to cover really quickly the audiences. We talked earlier about segmenting your contact list by different criteria so that you can personalize email communications. That's done under the contacts page of ArtCloud. So in here, you'll see this audiences page, and this is going to be a list of all of your audiences. Audiences are dynamic list of contacts that meet certain criteria. So if we open up our collectors audience here, this is right now is set to be any of my contacts who are subscribed to my emails. You can also, if you wanted to make this like a VIP, a collectors list, for example, you might want to have an additional filter that says they have spent over a certain dollar amount. Because as a demo account, I'll just put $100 in here to make sure we get someone. So you can see of those 19 people that were subscribers in this demo account, 9 have spent over $100 in this account. So that would be kind of your VIP list. And while it can be a lot of extra work to personalize newsletters for different audiences, it's also a great way to personalize that communication. So maybe you want to have kind of a sneak peek of an upcoming exhibition. So you might want to invite all the people that have ever purchased work from you to be able to have access to come by or come by the studio before you send the work off to the exhibition. Uh, and then so they're getting a different email newsletter than maybe all of your followers. And that will just kind of continue to build that loyalty and also increase engagement. Um, I say another a question in here about how many emails you can send per month. Uh, you can see all of the kind of pricing breakdowns on our pricing page, but with our basic package, you can send one email to up to 500 people per month. And if you go to Pro and Pro Plus, you can send it to more people and up to unlimited campaigns to unlimited people. So you can kind of go through those. If you have any questions, you can, as you get into it and poke around, you can always email our support team. We're happy to help you pick the right plan for you and your studio.
And I'm going to
Megan,
drop
yeah.
that handy link in the chat for specifically artist pricing, so you can peruse that. But is it time for me to steal the share back?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, just if you don't have an ArtCloud account, highly recommend you try one out. You don't have to put a credit card in. You can explore all of these features. You can upload your content. You can use it forever for free with just inventory management. You can play around with what these newsletters will look like, and um, you know, ask us any questions you have. We're happy. We're always here and happy to help.
Yeah, and we will continue to do these webinars. And oh, Alex, we have wait for the Q&A. I'm gonna keep going.
Oh,
But we will continue to have these webinars. Our next one is in August, so I'll talk about it a little bit later. But we're just really looking forward to really supporting our artist community with these technological tools that grow artists' careers. So now I will talk about the before and after. So very quickly, I'll send this deck out, but just a quick checklist of length, content, and contact for before you send. We've all had that moment of sending something out and you're like, oh crap, I wanted to add XYZ. So doing that checklist is always really handy. And then after the email ships, like Alex mentioned, when you go to the dashboard of your email campaigns, you see that you have analytics trickling in as things process. And so basically, when it's easily findable on the internet, but independent artists have an average open rate of 42.63%. That's very good. So when it comes to other
don't get discouraged if your first email doesn't have 42%, is what I think
exactly.
Megan's trying to say.
Yeah,
That's
exactly
a very
right. So
high rate.
yeah, it is a really high rate. But people want to hear from artists, and that people find artwork interesting. So that's it's doable. And then the click rate would be about 1.7. So as you go through, use the internet to your advantage, and look to see what other artists are doing, um, and yeah, and just stack your emails up against each other and see how they're performing. Q&A. So first we have one that is, can I test an email before the real one goes out? And that you definitely can. So you can send a test to yourself. You can send a test to another email, right, Alex?
Yeah,
To a
absolutely.
friend.
So yeah, absolutely. In that builder, we didn't go over that specific button, but there's right before you send it, there's a button where you can then send it to any of the email, like your email address in ArtCloud or any other email. Just type it in, and it will send off a one-off, so you can see what it looks like on your phone, on your laptop. That's always a good place to just uh, proofread all the things, because when you're in the builder and you're working on it and you're changing the formatting, sometimes you get in that kind of tunnel vision. And when you if you preview it to one of your devices and then just with a fresh set of eyes read it from beginning to end, that's when you'll typically find your typos and any kind of thing you want to tweak.
Cool. Yep. Um, so Alex, can you embed a video in an email?
Yeah, you can't embed a video in an email, and that's not necessarily a limitation of ArtCloud. It's more of a limitation
Mm-mm.
of what email clients can do. So the email clients aren't allowed to play videos, but what you can do is take a screenshot of the video and then link that to a YouTube page, or a Vimeo page, or wherever that, or your ArtCloud page or your ArtCloud website where that page is. where that video is, and that way the viewer, if they're interested in watching that, will click it. And what's cool is you'll get engagement metrics then on that. You'll be able to see how many people clicked on that link. We didn't deep dive into the analytics because we have a test account, but one of the things that's really cool that you can see is as you start to send out more emails, you'll be able to see what links people clicked on, so you can start seeing what people were most interested in. And certainly, if you have great video content, that's definitely something worth experimenting with and putting in your emails to see if people are interested in watching them.
Um, so thank you for the answer. Um, Kathy's asking, can you show where you create a blog versus a newsletter? And I can tell you in words. So on the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see the navigation. They're different, they're in different places. Email newsletters live in campaigns, which are under marketing and sales. And the blog lives under the blog. So that's where you'll do those two different
Do
things.
you want to kick me back to share just so we
Yeah,
can
please.
just
Actually, yeah, that's a great idea.
just to make it it's easy enough, and
That's true.
sometimes words are harder to follow than images.
You're
So
welcome, Heather.
uh, blog posts are created under the website section of our cloud, and you'll see blogs and media here. This is
There
where
we
you
go.
can come in here, click add new blog. You'll recognize this kind of two-step thing, much very similar to setting up a newsletter. So you might, create your whole blog here with all of its information and etc. And then what you could do is then get that particular URL and then make a little snippet of that blog post in your email campaign, which we went through. Obviously, that's going to be under the sales and marketing, under campaigns. When you make that email campaign, you could then put in a little bit of maybe you want to do something like this and say, you know, new blog post, new blog post, and then you can maybe have your excerpt from the blog there, and then you can link this image right here. You have this image link section. You could link that back to the particular blog post page on your website. And that way, again, you're gonna be able to check who's interested in this. Or did everyone click on my blog post hyperlink? If so, you'll know, continue to double down on that. So keep experimenting with what brings that engagement.
Thank you. Um,
No problem.
so last one that we'll answer today, this is sort of a theoretical, is how often should I be sending out my emails? Do you have any recommendations? And I'll be the one to give the more nebulous answer, if it really depends on what you're doing. And it depends on, if you've got things going on that you feel like you should announce. But even if it's just a monthly email on a particular day, or you associate like the last Thursday of the month is when your people will hear from you. Just I would recommend it being at a clip, being consistent. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, I'll
Alex, do
second
you have
that. I
anything
think,
to add on that?
yeah, totally. I think consistency matters more than frequency. So start small, like start with, quarterly if it's brand new to you and you don't have time, and just start with every 3 months. You're going to send out one newsletter and experiment with it, or start monthly, but just do that for a little bit, and then you can change that over time as you learn more. I think we've also seen another question come in about including images that are not in the database. So you can certainly add one of the content widgets. We, in the product demo I showed, just dragging over like a text widget. There's also just a generic image widget you can drag onto the email campaign, and you can drag as many of those as you want and just upload any image. So studio shots, works in progress shots. If you want to show a video of you or images of you working on a new piece, or installation shots, anything like that, you can put any generic images on that newsletter that you'd like.
Cool. Thanks for answering that. And I think
No
that leads us
worries.
to the end here. Thank you guys so much for coming. We really appreciate you. And if you have any other questions, feel free to email support@artcloud.com. As I said, I will send this deck out in the follow-up email with the recording. Our next webinar is on August 15th at 3 p.m. EST, and these will be linked. So our knowledge base is a wealth of information for artists using ArtCloud. We have a community Facebook group that we would love for you to engage with, where we can learn from each other. And then we have a link to our YouTube playlist for artists, which is a ton of videos of our past office hours from 2023 and 2022. and some training videos. So thank you again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah. See you guys. Thanks for coming.
Bye, y'all.